Hey, welcome to my weekly live stream. I'm Christine Weber. I love to support mature yoga teachers in their quest to help support the maturing population as well. And one of the things that maturing people need is to continue to work on strength building as we get older. You hear a lot about osteoporosis, but what we don't hear about much is the loss of muscle, which is can be an equally large challenge for people, especially women, as we get older. So, hey, you can find me here every Wednesday about 11 o'clock Eastern time. You want to, if you're watching me on YouTube, you want to like and subscribe to the video so you get you get a notification. And you can also like my page over on Facebook, Subtle Yoga with Christine Weber. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the strengthening stuff. There's a lot of, I hear a lot of people in the yoga world grumbling about how we don't strengthen enough in yoga. And I would suggest that that's accurate for certain kinds of yoga that are much more based on the, bendy, stretchy, hypermobility stuff. And the way that I teach yoga, the way I was trained from my wonderful teachers, including Gary Crafso of Vinny Yoga, is that yoga is always about the balance between asana, I should say asana, is always about the balance between stretching and strengthening. So we do a lot of strengthening stuff. And if you know about Krama, you can do even more strengthening stuff. Krama is fantastic for both stretching and strengthening, by the way. And what Krama means is when you take a pose and you kind of chunk it up. It could be, you could chunk it up into 4 or 5 parts, for example. And that means that you're working different fibers of different muscles. Let's take, for example, your glute maximus, your butt muscle, right? When you think about, like, what does my glute maximus do? Most people will think about extension. It does that, right? So it takes the leg back behind you. That's part of the job of the glute maximus, right? But it also is involved. It's involved in abduction, taking the leg out to the side. It's also involved in external rotation, rotating that femur bone. So it does a bunch of different things. So it's not like you can just isolate one muscle with one action and work that muscle. That's not how our bodies work. They're not built like that. We have distinct muscles, but those muscles often do several different things. And what Krama is good for is working across the fibers of that muscle. So you're working like with different fibers depending on where you are in the position. So I'm going to get you started here in just a moment and show you what Krama is and how you can bring it into your practice and into your teaching. And I really think you're going to love it. I love Krama. Like, it's one of my favorite parts of practicing asana. Before I do that, I just want to mention that we are coming up to our 3rd year in the Subtle Yoga Resilience Society. And if you think you only have 5 minutes to study with me every week, because you're too busy, and so you can only come on Wednesdays to my free live streams, I would like to suggest that that may be an inaccurate assumption. And you may choose to want to dive deeper, because the deeper you go in this, the better you're gonna feel. These practices are amazing, and they will help you to do a sustainable yoga practice for the rest of your life, especially if you have challenged your body or potentially injured your body with cumulative traumas or repetitive strain over the years with yoga practices that might have not have been right for you. This is the way to relearn yoga in a way that's sustainable and will last you. You will be doing this for the rest of your life. I guaranteed you will do this for the rest of your life if you practice, if you study it, and you can study with me live every Wednesday. Before this at 9:30 Eastern time every Wednesday in the Subtle Yoga Resilience Society. We're about to share all the details of our upgraded group. And so get on my email list. Just email us at support@subtleyoga.com. We'll share all that with you, and I'll also share it with you here. Okay, let's go back to Krama. So I want to give you 2 examples of Krama. Oh, before I do, got one more thing to say. Before I do that, I just want to say one more thing about Krama is what Krama is also fantastic for is both concentric and eccentric strengthening. So concentric means when a muscle is shortening. So I'm using my deltoid as an example here. So as I take the arm up, and it's different fibers of the deltoid, it's going to go into the middle fibers and then also the anterior fibers. But anyway, as I take my arm up, those muscles are contracting, right? So Krama is good for that. But also when I take my arm down, that's eccentric in this particular muscle. And that also is strengthening too. And you can use that. That applies for your hamstrings, your quad, everything. You know, you can do it with everything. Okay, so let me give you 2 examples of the Krama. The first one we're going to do is we'll just use it in mountain pose. Just do it in mountain pose. Let me get a little closer. We'll just do this in mountain pose. So mountain pose, often arms up and arms down. That's not an unusual mountain pose in the Vinny yoga tradition. I know in other traditions they might call it something different. So one of the things that we do is inhale the arms up and exhale the arms back down, right? Simple. And you might lift your heels. Inhale the heels up, exhale the heels down. Here's how you do it with Krama. Feel free to do this with me. You don't have to be warm or anything to do this, unless you got a shoulder thing, then be careful. So exhale completely. And on your inhale, you want to take your arms and your heels about a quarter of the way up. Exhale in place. And therein lies some of the strengthening, right? Now inhale, take your arms and your heels about halfway up. Exhale in place. Inhale, take your arms and your heels about 3/4 of the way up. Exhale in place. You can work your belly on the exhale. And then inhale, take your arms and your heels all the way up. Exhale in place. Take a breath here. And then on the exhale, take your arms about a quarter of the way down and your heels about a quarter of the way. Exhale and inhale in place. Exhale, arms and heels halfway. Inhale in place. Exhale, arms and heels 3/4 of the way. Inhale in place. And then exhale all the way down. Isn't that a really different experience than just inhale up, exhale down, right? Because inhale up, exhale down, you kind of miss everything. You're going from one movement to the other with missing all the stuff in between. It's also a great way to be in the present moment. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how you could do that and this is going to be working the muscles in the back, a little bit in the abdomen as well, because we're going to do it in a forward bend. This you might not be ready for to do the whole thing if you haven't done any movement. So you could do a little bit of it perhaps. And I want to turn to the side just so you can see a little better. And the arms go up over the head, or you could do cactus arms, especially if you're worried about low back, you want to take care of your back. I'll just do cactus so you can see. So here's an inhale. On the exhale, about a quarter of the way, work your belly. Stay here. And as you inhale, lengthen your spine. And then exhale about half the way down. Draw your belly in. Stay here and lengthen your spine. Inhale. And then you're going to exhale about 3/4 of the way. Stay here and lengthen your spine as you inhale. Sorry if you can't see me. And then exhale, you go all the way down. And then same thing back up. Inhale about a quarter. Exhale in place. If you're using the arms are your weights. Inhale about halfway, right? Because they add some load. So straight arms is even more weight. Exhale in place. You could use 5-pound weights here too if you wanted to. Inhale 3/4. Exhale in place, work your belly. And inhale all the way up. And then exhale the arms down and feel all that work you just did in your back. You feel all the work you did in your back there? Yeah, do that a few times and see how it feels. Then tell me yoga's not about strengthening. Yoga very much can be a wonderful strengthening practice, can improve the health of bones as well as improve the health of your muscles, the content of your muscles and your bones, right? So we need to move. Motion is built into, it's a bio imperative for human beings, and we need to strengthen as we get older. I hope that you will explore some more Krama. If you want to study with me regularly, check out the Subtle Yoga Resilience Society. We're going to be having a big sale next month, and Subtle Yoga Resilience Society 2.0 starts in July. We've added some great new features to it. I would love you to join me, and I'll see you next week. So have a great one. Take care.